CATV is proudly presented by Toyota.
Michael, very disappointing finish to a difficult game. How do you explain losing 10-9 and going over like that in 4 days?
Firstly, I think South Africa deserve a lot of credit. We're outplayed with both bat and ball throughout this Test match, and they played extremely well. So credit to them. I think you've seen a class spell of reverse swing bowling today from all three of the South African fast bowlers, but certainly Dale Steyn, I think he showed, South Africa showed us how to get the ball reversing. We didn't get one ball to reverse while we were bowling in both innings, so we can learn from that. And like I say, you've seen a class bowler bowl consistent 140, 145 Ks and execute his skills as well as you'll see in international cricket. So Dale Steyn deserves a lot of credit.
There seems to be a common denominator in Australia's struggles overseas, and that's sort of the flat, dry pitches that other teams seem to be able to cope with those conditions, and Australia doesn't.
Look, I think the common denominator is when you're not winning games of cricket, it's because you're either not bowling teams out for less enough for a low enough score, or you're not making enough runs as a batting unit. I think, you know, I've had these discussions about all different conditions around the world. We didn't have as much success as we would have liked in India when the wickets were slow and low and spun. And we went to the UK and we didn't have as much success there. Through my career, we've played on some green seamers and we haven't scored as many runs as we would like there. So, yeah, I don't think it's about conditions. I think, you know, you certainly need to pay credit to some great bowling from South Africa. We certainly didn't bat in both innings, especially the first innings, anywhere near as well as we needed to. And yeah, we've got to find a way to turn that around over the next few days. We've got to prepare for another Test match, another tough Test match, and we need to make sure we're at our best like we were 7 days ago.
Yeah, Michael, the team over the course of 6 Test matches have built up a lot of confidence and belief and momentum. When it unravels as quickly as that, does it leave you feeling it's done?
Well, like I say, it's not. We knew the best time to bat in the second innings was going to be against the new ball. So, for people that don't know much about the game, they might think that because you're none for 120 or whatever we were, that you're in contention to win the game. We knew the hardest period throughout this Test match was going to be once the ball got old, starting your innings against reverse swing. And we've seen enough of that in the first innings to know that with a wicket that was deteriorating, nice hot day, reverse swing was going to play a bigger part in the second innings than it did in the first. So, look, don't get me wrong, you don't plan to be bowled out for the way we were today. Our batting wasn't good enough, there's no doubt about it. But, again, credit to the South African bowling attack.
Is it a little bit like that sort of subcontinent thing where the game moves slowly at the start and then quite a lot quicker at the end?
Yeah, maybe. I just think that was on this wicket against this attack. In conditions like we had today, nice and warm, we knew that was going to be the toughest time to bat.
One bloke stood up to the bat, Michael. What did you think of his?
Yeah, Chris played really well. Obviously, to get a start, him and Davey, I thought, played really well up front. Although we knew it was going to be nice to bat it throughout that stage. But for Chris to be able to get through some tough spells from the South African quicks, he deserves a lot of credit. Shows his class, there's no doubt about it. So, really pleased for him. Yeah, I think Bucky's as disappointed as the rest of us that we, with the way we batted today, but he can certainly hold his head high. He played really well.
How was he about the run out? I mean, almost pushed it into tomorrow, didn't he? And had you guys had a look at the forecast?
I hadn't looked at the forecast, but I obviously knew over the last couple of days there's been a lot of talk about it. So I think that was, yeah, I don't think runs were ever come into the equation today for us. It was more about trying to get through today, see today off, and we'll assess where we sit, how many wickets down we are tomorrow. So, but take nothing away from South Africa. They deserve to win this Test match, so it's the way it goes.
Brain snap by him, the run, I mean, just tired.
I thought he played fantastic.
It's going to be a similar question, but how much of your thinking was the weather forecast? Because it kind of had a weird finish there where you guys seemed to be closer to kind of safety than you thought. Was there planning and talk about it?
Not really, no. I don't. Again, like I've said through my captaincy, in sport, generally, 90% of the time there's a winner and there's a loser. And fortunately in our game, sometimes there's a draw. But when you get outplayed like we did throughout this Test match, South Africa deserved to win the game.
Michael, do you expect to be slotting the selectors will give you what owed about somewhere in the 11 because you seem as a bowler, I think about 130 overs between them. And if so, because of what happened today, does it make it likely that one of the newcomers might have to come out for him?
I'm not sure, Jesse, to be honest, mate. The selectors will obviously have a discussion about that. I'm not sure where Watto sits fitness-wise at the moment as well, how many overs he can bowl. But, I've said since Watto's been injured that if he's fit and healthy, then that's a real positive sign for this team. His batting and bowling is important to the team, so I'm sure the selectors will assess that. And if they bring Watto back in, I'm not sure who that'll be for. If it goes on form, it might be me.
Michael, were you surprised when the extra time was allowed at the end, given that I think you were 7 down at that stage and they decided there was time to get a result?
I was a little bit surprised, but I accept and respect that's the on-field umpire's decision. They obviously thought there was a chance of a result and they were right. So, right decision.
Michael, we've seen a comprehensive result for you in the first test and now a comprehensive result for South Africa. Do you think that's testament to actually how close the teams are?
I like the sound of that, so I'll say yes. I think it's credit to both teams that when we, the Australian team, have momentum, or when South Africa grab momentum throughout this game, they ran with it, throughout the whole Test match. So more than how the results have turned out, the fact that you've seen 2 4-day Test matches shows that you've got 2 class teams that, when they got momentum, they're tough to stop.
Michael, knowing that you've lost this comprehensively, how do you get over a defeat like this, going to a ground where the last time you played, you got 47?
Probably the same way South Africa got over it in Centurion. Yeah, it's exciting. I think I said last time we were here that I wish there was a third Test match being 1-1. So now we've got that challenge. Cape Town is a magnificent place to play cricket. It's, generally when the sun's out, it's a good wicket, and when it's overcast, there's a lot of hard work to be done for the batters. So it's going to be a challenge, there's no doubt about it. But it's exciting. I think what we're seeing now is 2 teams, pushing extremely hard to have success. We're trying to challenge the number 1 team in the world in their own backyard. So we know how difficult it is, and we're excited by that challenge.
When you walked out the bat, staying bowling the way he was, can you remember a more difficult sort of set of circumstances in terms of the importance of the match and whatnot?
Unfortunately, he wasn't bowling when I first walked out. I got 1 over a Mornay and 1 over a couple of balls of Philander, so they gave me a couple of balls to get mine. I think that spell of bowling from the South African attack was very good. There's no doubt about it. I think it'd be unfair to compare it to other times I've had to face class reverse swing bowling, but that was, as an attack, they bowled really well. They got the ball to swing both ways. Reverse swing both ways is extremely tough to face at any stage, alone when guys are walking out and they're starting on 0.
Dale, I suppose in particular, got those 2 wickets in the first over though, and he just looked unplayable. Like, did you get the sense when he came on in the first ball that there was something special there?
I knew the ball was reverse swinging. I know how good a bowler he is, and I know how fast he was bowling. So yeah, it was about trying to find a way to protect your wicket, to knock it out. But unfortunately, we couldn't do that.
Yeah, considering that this Test match followed the same pattern of the Chester Street Test match, does it defeat rankle more than the one that happened in the Ashes?
I've got no idea. Anytime you lose, it hurts.
Michael, you mentioned the discrepancy on reverse swing between your bowlers and South Africa's. Is that partly a product of Australian domestic cricket over the last few years, where it's sort of been the new ball swing, conventional movement that's been more the thing?
I think it's knowing your conditions, really. I think South Africa knew what to do early. They were happy to hit the wicket and weren't too concerned about how the ball was at the start while it was new. They tried to get it as old as they could, I guess, as quickly as they could, and then they seemed to work extremely hard on one side, and they managed to be able to get the ball to reverse.
Do you expect that kind of pitch in Cape Town now?
I've no idea what to expect. We'll wait and see.
Michael, I'm sure you're not taking careful note of this, but it's now 11 innings.
Oh no, Mal, here we go. Is it started? Has it started?
You haven't scored 25. Do those sort of numbers play on your mind?
Obviously, I'd like to score 100 every time I bat. I'm not looking forward to the next however many press conference until I make a score over 25 or over 50 or 100. But I've been there before. We have been there before together, Mal. So the one thing I'll say is in this game of cricket, you have some great times. And I remember those fondly. And I said at the time that it swings and roundabouts. There's tough times and it makes you enjoy the good times. So right now, you're right. It is 11 innings since I've scored more than 25. I'm due.
So do you take any comfort from the fact that Mark Taylor went 21 innings with a top score of 43?
There you go. I got room to play. Oh, look, I don't know what to say to that. Hopefully we're not having this discussion in the next press conference. But a very fair question.
Michael, talking of swings and roundabouts, you had a period a while back, you may not remember it, where you were having to lift a team that was down. In this case, you've got a team that's been winning, and now this is going to come quite hard, I would have thought. How do you see the difference, and how do you see you need to lift them this time?
I think the team's in a really good position at the moment in regards to how everybody feels. There's no doubt there's disappointment in the change room. We just lost a test match. But in regards to the way we've been playing over the past 12 months, I think Cape Town is very exciting for us. We said, before we even got to South Africa, we know how tough a challenge this series was going to be. They're a fantastic team in their own backyard. But this is a wonderful opportunity for this Australian team to see where we sit at the moment against the number one team. It's a great challenge, and I can guarantee you we'll be up for it, that's for sure.
Last question, Till.
Michael, there's not many days to go before the Cape Town Test. And you're still the captain of a fine team. What do you need to do to pick them up, if anything?
Look, I think it's about, you should feel the disappointment. Anytime you lose, you should feel that disappointment as a team, and the guys will be feeling that in the change room now. Like I said, it was only 7 days ago we were playing fantastic cricket, so I'm not too concerned, to be honest. It's about making sure now we start our preparation as of tomorrow morning for this Cape Town Test match. I said at the press conference before the first test that for us to have a chance to win this series, we have to play at our best. I think we did that in Centurion, and we certainly didn't do it here. We have to in Cape Town.